in 2014, a big life event happened to me. My mum died, and that was like a huge wake-up call. Everything you do, it does build you.
Yeah.
And like I've become a character, you know, from my past.
And I remember you messaging me, we were talking, and you were like, I've just handed in my notice, I'm giving up the day job.
Yes.
And that was such a huge pivotal moment, wasn't it?
Lockdown changed my life, and I did not realise how busy and how much was going on in my head. There's all these issues in my head that are undealt with.
How was I living my life not knowing that information? There's such a fine line, isn't there, between being too kind on yourself?
I've got to get to the core here of something. Because there's obviously there's a reason why I get all these obsessions over things. There is always a point, like we will fail and fail and fail, but
that's life.
It is life, and you have to fail to succeed eventually.
100%.
Yeah, I had no self-worth or self-esteem for many years. Like, I think a lot of it goes back to just, you know, masking a lot of pain that I was going through in my life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. You are tuned in to Real Talk with Nat. I'm your podcast host, Natalie Naaman, and we have a very beautiful guest here today, Holly Bannis.
Hello.
Oh, hi. How are we?
I'm great. How are you?
Your energy today is vibing high.
I'm really excited to be here.
I can tell.
I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here.
I feel great.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
You are more than welcome. I've wanted you on here for a while, but with your busy schedule.
I know, but we made it work.
As soon
as I saw you do this, I was like, oh God, I really want to sit down with you and just chat.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks.
Give our listeners, our viewers, a little introduction to yourself.
So I'm Holly. I'm 34 years old. Am I 34? I'm 34. Oh
You're
my
like
God.
me. I don't know how old I am.
34. I'm a singer from Kent. I'm currently in the touring show What's Love Got to Do With It, and I play the role of Tina Turner.
Yes, you do.
And I also play the role of Whitney Houston in our sister show, Queen of the Night. So that is my life, just singing and touring, basically. Yeah.
It literally is your life, isn't it?
Literally.
You are always on the road, here, there, and everywhere, doing all sorts of different shows. But you've been in the music industry for a while. Prior to this, music has been your life for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Where did that all begin?
So I do have a bit of a musical background.
Yeah.
But when I was 8 years old is when I first realised that I could actually sing.
Okay.
Well, actually, it was what I realised I wanted to do because I saw Jennifer Lopez on the TV and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be.
I love that.
Yeah.
A bit of J-Lo.
And as the years went on and just, you know, growing up into like a teenager, you go into school, you meet groups of people, and like I wasn't really in the like frame of mind of thinking, you know, I'm chasing a dream. I was just kind of like doing life as a child into a teenager, into an adult kind of should. But my dad is a singer. So I was always surrounded by it, and I saw him go off to work and come back, and I always thought that's what I really want to do.
Can we say who your dad is?
Yeah. So my dad was in Hot Chocolate, the band.
So cool.
He actually took over Errol Brown in 1992 until 2010. So he toured like the whole world with Hot Chocolate, which is really, really cool. When I was younger, I didn't think it was cool.
Did you not?
Oh my God. Every birthday party, he would get up and take the mic and sing, and I cringed.
Did he sing You Sexy Thing?
Always.
I bet you loved that when you were like
my friends
10.
loved it. That's what I mean. My friends loved it. It was only until I was 21, like I fast forward a little bit here, but it's only until I was 21 when I really sort of accepted it and we actually performed together at my 21st birthday party. So
very cool.
Then I was like, okay, my dad's pretty cool.
Yeah, love that.
But no, going back, so yeah, I'd see him do that and just thought, I can sing, but I was this like little bedroom singer, really shy, like would grab my hairbrush and like just always be singing in the mirror, singing in the shower, but like never in public. And then it was only when the TV shows like X Factor and The Voice and everything come about, and I thought, there could be an opportunity here. Like from a young age, I've seen what the life of a pop star looks like, and I just thought that's what I want.
Yeah.
So I started auditioning for the X Factor, you know, doing all the 5 a.m. queue ups. Like it was horrible, and every time just getting a no.
Yeah.
Like for 7 years, I did that. Like just no, no, no.
You went on X Factor. You tried for X Factor 7 years.
Tried for X Factor 7 times,
Wow.
and just kept getting no's.
Yeah.
But looking back, I thought that should have stopped me, because who I am now compared to them, like I thought I was so much weaker, and I had no self-belief then.
Yeah.
So I surprised myself that I stuck with it. And that's when I realized getting older, that was actually my true passion and like my purpose 100%.
Yeah.
But I started doing some singing, like local singing contests, and that's where my confidence started to grow, because admittedly they were just like pub restaurants and stuff like that. And obviously I'd have a couple of glasses of wine, a bit of Dutch courage confidence.
Yeah.
But my friends all would come along, and it was really encouraging, and I started getting through rounds.
Yeah.
And then we would travel, just like the first competition, it was like the Hungry Horse pub chain, but it was a prize of like £10,000.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And I made it to a runner up and won like 500 quid. And like, I was like, wow, okay, like I could actually do this.
Yeah.
So from that, I think I must have been like 19 or 20 years old then. And from then I just started to continue doing stuff like that, really, but a bit of karaoke on the weekend with friends. And then it was only really in 2014, a big life event happened to me. My mum died, and that was like a huge wake up call for me, to be like, oh wow, like it's now or never that I do this. I've already lost, you know, one thing in my life that you're kind of living for. Like I can't lose what I feel I deserve to live for, which you know was a career and my passion, which was singing. So yeah, I started quite late. 23 years old I was, really, till I started going out there and actually performing. And when my mum did pass away, I really wanted to give back to charity, Macmillan, who really looked after her throughout those years. And so about a year after, I said to my dad, I'm going to do a charity show and I just want to raise some money and I'd love you to sing and I'm going to sing. But it was a massive deal for me, because like people have seen me sing, but like not really. Do you know what I mean? And I would always practice singing at home, even when mum was around. But it just never took off, like sadly, until like she went. And I remember doing this charity show. My dad said, right, I'm going to invite an agent down to this. Like, let's see sort of if you're good enough, basically. And I was like, right, this is it. You know, like my dad's got loads of agents that he works under. You know, I want to get work. I don't want to be stuck in a 9 to 5 the rest of my life. Like that is just not me. So I did this charity show and he sang 3 songs. And that agent said like, yeah, like I'd love to take you onto my books. And yeah, that was like 2024. Sorry, 2015 it would have been. And from then I just started singing always, like every weekend. I got other agents and I did a good like 8.5 to 9 solid years of just pubs and clubs and restaurants and learning like the groundwork. You know,
which is so important.
Massively. Oh my God. I mean, I think I got to like 9 years in, or it could be 8 years. My maths is terrible, but I got however far in and I thought, oh, I don't know how many more pubs I can go to, how many more nights I can lug my equipment. And I did start to like lose the love a little bit for it. But I knew in the back of my mind, something was telling me something is going to give, something is going to give. Like my dad always told me this, you have to do your groundwork. This is your bread and butter. And do good at that and you will never lose it. So I always had that in the back of my mind. And then, you know, lo and behold, I got the opportunity to go into the shows that I'm in now. And it just went up a level.
But I think that's such an important thing to talk about, doing the groundwork, because quite a common thing is that you think people get overnight success, right? So people that come and
100%.
watch you in Whitney or Tina
Yeah.
probably think, oh, she's got it, like, she's got it lucky, which now, yes, you have an amazing career and it's brilliant, but they don't know that you spent 9 or 10
No.
years in pubs
Mm.
wondering when your break was going to come.
Yeah.
But having that belief and consistency in what you were doing has got you to where you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, you said, okay, you started late when you were 23, but
Mm.
when is the right time? There's never a right time to start anything, right?
There is never a right time. My dad didn't get his break till he was 40.
Yeah.
He was
Wow.
40 when he got into
Yeah.
hot chocolate, which then, you know, helped him sort of plummet in his career as
Yeah.
well, you know. So
Yeah.
it is never too late,
It isn't.
100%. But it just felt it. I think you see all these youngsters going on these TV shows and your brain is almost like absorbs that and you're
Yeah.
conditioned to think, you know, our record company won't be interested in me if I'm like in the overs category,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
So interesting.
mm,
So interesting. I just want to go back to your mum.
mm,
So you lost your mum when you were 23?
23.
23. And were you really close with your mum before?
Yeah, I mean, I was close to my mum, but it's funny because she she got cancer. She died of cancer, and the first time she got cancer, I was 14,
Hmm.
and I remember her telling me. I come home from school one day. She was on the bed, and one of my school friends' mums were there, and she was sat on the bed. And she told me, like, you know, I've got cancer. I mean, I'm 14 years old. I don't
Mm,
really know much about that.
yeah.
But I just remember saying to her, like, okay, mum, like, are you going to die? And she actually just said, I don't know.
Hmm.
And I thought, wow,
Mm,
okay. A 14-year-old, like,
yeah.
sadly, I say sadly, but because really it is sad. I dealt with, when I look back, the way I dealt with it was I literally just tried to numb everything
Hmm.
with going out and drinking
Okay.
for years.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I fell back so much on trying to pursue my singing career. That's why, a big reason why it started so late, because yeah, I was just being a teenager, you know,
Yeah.
teenagers get up to whatever they do. These
Yeah.
days it seems to be TikTok and an iPad or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's very different for us, wasn't it?
But mine was very, very
Yeah.
different. And I think had I not gone through that though, you know, y- you do, you are built, everything you do, it does build you.
Yeah.
And like I've become a character,
Yeah.
you know, from my past and all of my mistakes and
Hmm.
everything that I've done. And I don't regret any of it as such.
Hmm.
But I do think, you know, being so young, and from then, you know, my mum did stick around
Yeah.
until I, you know, another what, nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
But I knew no different. So where she was ill from such a young age for me, we didn't spend that much time doing what a mother and daughter would normally do.
Hmm.
That's the part that kills me most, you know. I look at a lot of my friends and, you know, oh, they'll just go shopping with their mum or go for like lunch with their mum.
Yeah.
You know, my mum was still too ill to do any of that.
Hmm.
My dad was always away working as
Hmm.
well. So I was kind of just this bit of a lone spirit, I guess, like
Yeah.
just going out doing what I wanted to
Yeah.
do. I do look back and think, oh, I probably could have spent a lot more time at home with my mum, but my mum was very much so like, go out and enjoy your life.
Hindsight's a great thing as well, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, if we all looked back and we could all sit there and go, I wish, or I could have, or I
yeah.
should have, but it was what it was.
And you have to
And
accept
you have
it.
to accept it. And like you said, everything has built you
Yeah.
into who you are today. And
Mm,
everyone's relationship with their parents, you know, obviously your mum was ill, which is awful.
yeah.
But even if she wasn't ill,
Mm,
that relationship might have been different.
mm,
You never, like, everyone's relationship
mm,
with their parents are different.
yeah.
Um, and we're all here to be on our own journey
Mm,
and pave the way, whatever that's going to look like.
yeah.
What was life like for you as a little girl then, when you were younger?
Do you know what? I had a really lovely upbringing from what I can remember. I'm very lucky. You know, life wasn't hard. My dad always worked
Yeah.
hard. I'd say we had quite a basic lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, my dad worked hard and everything, but I've got a sister.
Hmm.
Me and my sister, from what I remember, got on when I was younger. I think as I grew up a little bit, I wanted to be like the bigger sister, and I always wanted to come out with her when she'd go up around the park and whatever, and that would cause arguments because she's like, I don't want to take my little sister out with me. We're close as anything now, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my mum, it was felt like a really a close family home. Like my mum had her dad around at the time, a brother, like my auntie and uncle. Christmases were always lovely. Like all the family would always come together.
Yeah.
I had friends that I would go out and play with often. Like I used to just love playing out the front of my house. Like that was growing up. Like for me, it's like I'm going out the front.
Yeah.
You know, whereas kids now, it's like it's so different.
It's so different now, isn't it?
Different.
Yeah.
Or I'd go around my house and like bag up everything that I want to sell out the front for like 20p, and then my parents would be like, "Where is the biscuit tin?" Like,
love that. That's your entrepreneur side
exactly.
coming out.
Yeah, I've always tried to
when you were little,
hustle,
trying to hustle your way through. But isn't like life is so different now, isn't it? When you look at like kids and what they get up to, like you said, iPad and TikTok.
Yeah,
we were outdoors,
always
playing.
Always.
Like we were like the last generation really
100%.
for that, and I'm so grateful for that.
I'm really grateful for it, and yeah, I think growing up it made me like maybe quite streetwise as well. I think, you know, like when I do look back, I think, oh my God, the stuff I used to get up to, like from a young age. I wasn't a naughty child, like I wasn't. Like in school I was very good. I'd go and report a couple of times and stuff like that, but like I was a bit savvy at the same time. Like I knew what I was doing really, but I would fall into situations like where I would think, oh God, like why am I here sort of thing, but I know it's going to be all right sort of thing. I had some sort of intuition somewhere that would sort of like reassure me like you're going to be okay.
Love that. Intuition. We'll talk about that, that whole spiritual side in a bit. So, okay, so let's just go back to the music stuff. So things started to take off from around when you were 23 after sadly your mum passed away.
Yeah.
And now you are, like you said, doing these amazing shows, Whitney and Tina. Are you doing anything else at the moment in terms of your solo career? Is there anything else in the pipeline or anything that's coming up?
Well, interestingly, so as I was doing these pubs and clubs and I was getting to that point, because I was working a day job as well. So my life was literally like 9 to 5 and then like Thursday to Sunday, pretty much going off doing the gigs as well. But as I was leaving my day job because I had enough singing work, I was also building like a solo project because I did release some music from 2019 for a couple of years because I do songwrite as well. I was like doing my own stuff. I got a producer. It was all like house and dance music, like all really upbeat stuff.
Absolute
which I absolutely
bangers.
love. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found myself doing that and I thought, right, now I want to step into like who Holly is because I was always like a featured artist or collabing on a track. I just want to do like a solo project and move more into like the pop world. Or a sound that's more me. And then we hit lockdown, which is where I then, my friend was sending me like applications and stuff because I love to do like TV stuff or always wanting to get into like TV or something.
Yeah.
She come across like this application for a TV show called Starstruck.
Yeah.
And weirdly, like Stars in Their Eyes, it was like the modern version of that. So it's quite strange how like I actually managed to get onto that as Tina Turner, which then got me into the show that I'm in. But it's like I really did follow in my dad's footsteps, sort of thing. Like
that's
we've
mad,
taken
isn't
that,
it?
really, really bizarre.
History repeating itself a little bit.
Yeah, like father, like daughter. It just happened. So yeah, I went onto the Starstruck, got into these shows, and obviously I've been in these shows now for like nearly 3 years. And I didn't do anything with the solo project because I had this opportunity, which got me out the day job.
Yeah.
It offered me everything that I wanted and that I'd worked for.
Yeah.
So now I'm, you know, in a good routine with work and I'm very comfortable where I am. I'm also now itching again to like get in the studio and like I want to be songwriting again or I want to be having some other little side project. So I have been working with a producer, you know, very early stages. So I'm not here to say I've got anything to release yet or anything like that, but it is in the pipeline.
It's coming.
And that is definitely the goal for this year, because I want to get back out there with my own music massively.
And you're so talented. As amazing as you
Oh.
are in Whitney and Tina, you've got your own thing going on as well, which
And
you should share for sure.
I have felt like I've really lost who Holly is. Like, I love doing the shows that I do.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm constantly like just emulating somebody else. It's not my life story.
You're acting.
Yeah, it is. And I have such an alter ego as well. And I'm like, who is Holly? Like, don't lose touch of that. So the thought of like going back and recording and being able to songwrite, that's what I want to do. I want to bring the world some Holly.
Yes.
Some more Holly.
I'm here for it. Lockdown was a pivotal time for you.
Very.
And a minute ago, you mentioned that your goal was to get out of the day job. And I remember doing a bit of work with you. Was it pre-lockdown or in lockdown that we first started getting to know each other?
Pre-lockdown.
Pre-lockdown. And I remember you saying, we were on some sort of call, and your goal at the time was to get out of the day job. And you were like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm sick of it. I don't want to be doing what I'm doing. I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And it was like a massive thing for you to get out of the day job. And then I remember you went through that whole starstruck experience. And I remember you messaging me. We were talking and you were like, I've just handed in my notice. I'm giving up the day job.
Yes.
And that was such a huge pivotal moment, wasn't it?
It really was.
And that was in lockdown. And so many things happened in lockdown for you with regards to just your transformation, your growth, your personal development,
massive
spirituality, like loads of things. So let's talk a little bit about that. Talk me through what went on in lockdown for you.
Lockdown changed my life 100%. It was hard. It was tough. It was horrible for everyone. It was for the whole world.
Yeah.
And when I look back at this, I do believe that that was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I was forced to do something that I'd never done before. I was busy constantly. I was working 2 jobs. Honestly, I had to put in my diary when I needed to wash my hair. You know, no one could ever see me. Like, it wasn't easy to just go and do a food shop. I was so busy. And a lot of that was a result of losing my mum, because I think I just wanted to keep my brain occupied. So I just work, throw myself into absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But I was exhausted and I didn't realise it. And then when lockdown happened, I was forced, like everybody else, to just stop. And I did not realise how busy and how much was going on in my head.
Yeah.
So much. Like, and lockdown went on and off for what, like 3-4 years?
Yeah.
So there's different stages throughout lockdown where I dealt with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I will never forget that I saw an ad come up on Facebook, I think it was. Now, I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins.
You love Tony Robbins.
I don't care. He changes my life as well. Like, I love Tony Robbins. Like, I do. I've been to see him.
You
like,
literally, when I see anything to do with Tony Robbins, you're the first person I think of. I'm like, Holly just bloody loves him.
I was obsessed.
Yeah.
But because I had never experienced anything like it or heard anything like it, like, wow, that man opened up parts of my brain that I didn't even know existed. So I saw a free ad come up. It was a 5-day challenge. It was like, it wasn't New Year, New You, but it was something like that. New Year, New Challenge or something like that. Anyway. So I took part in it, but I took part in it.
Yeah.
And if anybody that knows Tony Robbins, he's very much so like loud and energetic. You know, you are jumping around your living room like a nutter on your own. Like, you are chopping your hands through boards and stuff, like to have your breakthrough, all this crazy stuff. But I love that. Like, that's me. Like, I'm quite eccentric like that as well. I think that just suited me. So I did this and I was literally like, oh my God, like, I feel happy and I was excited and I was opening, my brain was opened up to like I had really bad skin at the time, really bad skin. And like, I was just learning about person after person who was like, good for this, good for that. And I did become a bit obsessed with everything, I must admit. Like, I would do these certain smoothies in the mornings because I got into my head about like heavy metals and toxins getting into body. And I was running a lot as well in lockdown. So I'd go out and think, oh my God, the fumes on the car, I must go home and have my heavy metal detox. Smoothie and all this kind of stuff. So it did get a bit obsessive. But also, aside from that, I then felt more open to like this world of self-development. And obviously I knew you. But then there became, through lockdown, like we all formed this community,
Yeah.
which I will never forget.
Yeah.
And I still talk about this to people to this day. And we called it our
Yeah.
miracle morning, didn't
Yeah.
we? Off the
Yeah.
back of the book.
Yeah.
So it was always so early, like 5 or 6 a.m. for half an hour.
Yeah.
But
During lockdown as
during
well. Not
lockdown,
many people were doing that.
no, every day. And that opened me up to the world of gratitude, which really changed the game for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am somebody that I cannot take notice of things. I do a lot. I do so much, but I don't always take it in.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was truly like learning about gratitude and practicing it daily with a community of people and meditations,
Yeah.
it just transformed me completely and helped me deal with so much.
Yeah.
Like, working with you, working with all the other amazing people in there. I then did open myself up to therapy and
Yeah.
like a hypnosis therapy, because I was realizing, oh my God, there's all these issues in my
Mm-hmm.
head that are undealt with.
And they came up during lockdown because you had time to actually stop and think about things.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that actually opening the door to self-development, personal development, whatever you want to call it, is what got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
100%, because I had no self-belief. I was so negative about everything.
Yeah.
I could not see the light at the end of any tunnel ever. And I was just stuck in this rut of like drinking or just being interested in things that were so irrelevant or not elevating me in life at all.
Yeah.
And this was all by myself, like my dad lives in Spain, my mum's
Mm-hmm.
not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My sister lives up the road and she's got like 100 kids. Literally, I'm a great auntie and everything. She won't care for me saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I just think, I just had to take on this journey of, and I wanted change. I really, really wanted change in my
Uh-huh.
life. I realized that. So yeah, like the whole world of self-development to me, like if there's anything I could tell somebody, like, because it has become of a buzzword sort of
Massively.
topic,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yeah.
But I become obsessed with it and I don't
Yeah.
regret that. I'm
Yeah.
not so obsessed now. I
Yeah.
manage things so differently, but I really threw myself into it and I will never forget that period of my life because it changed me.
Yeah.
And I built daily habits. Like, you know what I'm like with a morning
Uh-huh.
routine.
Yeah.
Like I love
You
a
do love
morning routine.
You do, but you say you're obsessed, which
Yeah.
I think that can be a good thing sometimes. And I always say it takes an element of obsession
Yeah.
to be successful in anything.
Yeah.
If you haven't got any obsession with anything, you're very unlikely to be consistent and disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to have that little bit, as long as it doesn't get too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're obsessed with your morning routine, you are like on it.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I do. I just, yeah, it is important. I do think, like you say, not to get too obsessed. Cause
Yeah.
there was a guy who I learned through Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Who I've become obsessed with in the
Right.
sense that everything was just bad for you.
Everything.
I wouldn't have an air freshener in my house. I wouldn't even have metal luggage. I wouldn't touch even a plug. Like it become obsessive. And
Yeah.
when I look back at that time, I felt great.
Yeah.
Like I really did. It was almost like I had some sort of belief system that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
Which then opened me up to the spiritual world of like the power of the universe.
Mm.
But I was just obsessed with it because I just realized, I think like, oh my God, like we're built for so much more.
Yeah.
Like it shut away in a box, I felt like my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, and I only knew what I knew and that was that.
But don't you feel, I feel that way just in general about all kinds of personal development.
Yeah.
Like some of the things which I've learned over the years, and you'll feel exactly the same. Like you said, you feel like, how did I not know that before? And how was I living my life not knowing that information? But what's not, well, a bit scary, but what's interesting is that the majority of people are still in that box.
Yeah.
I think more and more people are becoming, like you said, it's become a bit of a buzzword, and more more people are becoming open to personal development and all of those things, which is great because it means that, more people are learning more things, but it also means that there's a lot more noise around things. And then you find yourself in the trap of, okay, who do I listen to? Because that contradicts that and that contradicts that.
There's so much more of that now. I
So
feel
much more.
Like podcasts, for example, have blown up,
Yeah.
you know, and like on my way here, I'm listening to a podcast with the same guy that interviewed somebody else the day before, but what that person is contradicting, saying what the other person. And I'm like, what do I believe? You know, like,
and that I find that really confusing.
It's so confusing.
And if it's confusing for us, who has been in this space for a while, imagine how people feel who are just listening to that for the first time.
For the first time.
Yeah. Okay, so lockdown basically changed your life.
It did, and what I loved the most is that people saw the change in me. Like people really saw, like my friends said, you know, you're like a different person. And like I had full control. I had real full control of my life, I feel like. And like from going in, like going deeper and like to my inner self, which is just something I had never done before. And it is an experience. And it's not a place that I stayed. And people, I think, need to be mindful of that, because you will go on this rocky road of it. The training never stops, as good old Tony Robbins always says. And did I stop it? Absolutely, I did. Life gets in the way. That's just that, you know. But I have tools from so much. I've done so many courses, programs of yourself as well, you know, even currently, you know, doing your Master Yourself program, you know,
shout out to Master Yourself.
Absolutely. Get a little plug in there.
I love that. Thanks.
You need to get on it, guys.
Thank you.
But yeah, like it does, but it's interesting each time, because what I have realized is there's many times where I don't feel okay. Okay, and I admit that there are times I have real dips in my life, but I'm so self-aware every time. I'm aware, okay, I don't feel great. Sometimes I know what I need to do to get myself like back to how like I should be, or feeling good. But some days I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't working for me. Like I have to change up my morning routine sometimes, because I'm like, oh, it gets a bit like same sort of thing. So,
but that's really important to speak about, and that's I think that's an important topic that not people don't talk about, because morning routine, waking up at 5 a.m. club, you know, like all these things which we see online every day, especially if you're following anything to do with personal development, the algorithm loves all of that. You know, people can fall into the trap of thinking that it has to be the same as everybody else, and you have to do the same things all the time. And you're a human being, firstly. So firstly, you are going to have shit days. If you didn't, that wouldn't be normal. And secondly, we need change as human beings. You know, what my morning routine looked like in lockdown, for example, or even pre-lockdown or post-lockdown, is very different to what my routine looks like now, because my life has changed. Like your life has changed. Like how many conversations have we had where before we've started working together on something, you have said to me, right, my routine has now changed. I'm now 4 days here and I'm not going to be at home for another week. So how can I fit this in, and how can I do that? And you have to change it up. And not feel like that's a problem. You know?
I found it really hard to adapt, though. Once I got so solid in that morning routine lockdown, to the point that I would say to my friends, because I was single for like 10 years during that period as well. But it got to the point where I was like, I'm scared to meet a guy, because I don't care. I need to wake up at 5 a.m. and do my morning routine. And this guy's going to think she's absolutely nuts. I would go out running. I'd jump in an ice bath. I would go and sit on Zoom and read for half an hour with a friend for accountability. I would do you know what I mean? But that was my morning. I'd get up at 5, and by 8 o'clock, I can start my day. And I've done everything like just how I like it.
It's the best, isn't it?
But honestly, it is the best. And not every day is like that for me now, because of how my job is. Like, you know, I've now then had to adapt to realize, right, I've now got 2 different lives here. I've got my home life and I've got my tour life. And, you know, I now have to figure out a new routine for being on the road, which I really struggled with at first. Like I juice celery or cucumber every morning. Like, I was bringing my juicer with me in a travel lodge, sharing a room with someone. Pissing them off at 8 a.m. where I'm juicing 2 cucumbers.
They're like, will you shut up?
Literally. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to do it as part of my morning routine. But like, I've relaxed a lot more in it now, you know.
But that's also okay to do that. You know, it's important to do that as well.
It is.
Yeah, and you've got to make it work for you. If your mate doesn't like it, soz, put your earplugs in.
And it's like, you know, I have a boyfriend now, which I didn't have before. And it's like, I will still wake up and do my morning stuff. He thinks I'm nuts.
Does he?
Jumping in an ice
Yeah.
bath at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
in like freezing degrees.
Yeah.
Like my ice tub is like, you can just see it out my bedroom door. Like
Yeah.
it's like a glass door, not
Yeah.
window. And some mornings she doesn't believe me, and he's like literally stood there banging the door, like literally like, oh my God, you're actually doing it. I'm
Oh my
like,
God.
yes, I am. And stop
Every
distracting
day.
me because I need to breathe. But literally, I have to do it, and I love it.
Yeah.
I have a better day if I do that. There are mornings
Course.
still where I'll just stroll out of bed.
Yeah.
And I think I'll just be kind to yourself. Like, you
Yeah.
know, if you can't be bothered to do your morning routine, don't do it. But then I'm like, no, be harder on yourself, because you know you feel better when you actually do it.
There's such a fine line, isn't there,
Yeah.
between being too kind on
Yeah.
yourself? I fell into that trap probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where life was just changing for me. And I was so kind to myself that I like just stopped doing
You just let everything go.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. And you go, but it's okay.
No.
But it's okay. And that's fine if you're doing it for a week or something, but then it becomes 2 weeks, then a month and 2 months and 3 months. And you're like, you need to get your shit together now. And I think the self-love movement, that's where that can become a bit dangerous, because if you truly love yourself, you will put yourself through the challenging things for the better outcome.
And that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
What I struggle with a lot though with that is, and what I realise a lot about me, where I have to go deeper, is I become who I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
And in lockdown, I was only around a community of people that wanted to strive for the same thing and for more in themselves. Being back open into, you know, I've got a work environment, you know, I've got a home life environment, I've got all my different friends.
Yeah.
And not everyone's the same as me.
Yeah.
And I'm not like them. You know, some people, I don't have kids. I can't relate to a lot of my friends with kids, or I don't do what their job is or anything. But for me, I really struggled at one point because I was too positive.
Yeah.
And does that come in the line of like toxic
Yeah.
positivity?
Yeah.
So, but it got to the point where I was like, oh God, I can't be around these people. I'm like, but they're my friends.
Yeah.
You know,
It's hard. It's hard.
And it's so hard.
Yeah.
There were people I did just completely cut off because I
Yeah.
thought, you're actually no good for me.
Yeah.
Like, I have now realised a lot more about myself, and cut them off. And, you know, I'm not guilty for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I did find that really, really tough. And I still have moments like that now, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be doing these things anymore. Or I just want to elevate. Like, I thrive off of like success and doing well.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, if I'm not around that, I find it,
It's
I find that
harder.
mentally challenging.
Yeah, but it is. We know you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Exactly.
So that's relevant to everybody, I think.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you can limit your time with certain people and spend more time with those 5 people who you want to be more like or the same as or whatever, then you're fine. It's when it goes in the other direction and you end up having more time with those people that are not necessarily serving you.
Yeah.
But it can be hard when it's family members, even sometimes family members, friends, colleagues, like, you know, people who you have no choice but to spend time with sometimes.
Yeah, it can definitely be
Yeah,
tough.
it definitely can. And like, I remember when I moved in with my partner and my stepson, something as little as the food that's in the house. When I lived on my own, I did not buy half the food that I buy now, because I was set with my routine.
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted to have for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And then throw a child into the mix.
Oh my God.
It's a different story. And then that tests me and what am I eating now? And then I need to be more careful and more aware. And, you know, that happens in life with everything, whatever situation you're in, whoever you're around, you have to go through those challenges and adapt and learn.
I don't think I was prepared for that, because I just got in such a, it's not airy fairy, but like I was literally, it was Holly's world.
In your bubble.
I was in such a bubble.
Yeah.
And then literally, you know, to come out of that bubble into like technically reality.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to like, what do I want my reality to look like?
100%.
Because if it's not that, then don't be around it.
Yeah.
You know?
Your bubble is still reality.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just finding those right people to match that bubble.
100%.
Because they are there.
Yeah.
And you're living, you know, you've got an amazing partner now, you know, there's those people are always there.
Yeah. I do find myself aligned to the right people at the right times as well.
Yeah.
Or when I'm like, embarking on a big manifestation
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
Because like I've manifested some powerful stuff in my life.
Yes, you have.
I do find the right things aligned to me.
Yeah.
And when I have those moments, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it makes sense. I manifested this,
Yeah.
or I manifested you, or I manifested
Yeah.
that friendship, or
Yeah.
that journey, anything.
You're massive with manifestation.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the power of manifesting.
Tell me some things you've manifested in your life.
So, okay, this is quite interesting actually. So I bought a manifestation journal, and it was literally like you write down 3 times in the morning a sentence, then 5 times in the afternoon, then like 9 times in the evening. So you've written it out like it was the 369 journal. So you write out 3 times, 6 times, and 9 times.
Yeah.
And I wrote a sentence as simple as, I am now living with my boyfriend who is a country style guy, or however I worded it. Like I loved a country boy.
Yeah.
Basically. I
Yeah.
always wanted to live in the countryside.
Yeah.
With a dog. So I was at the peak of like my transformation and growth stage. You know, we come out of lockdown. I just, I've got going into this new job, leaving my day job, everything. Like I felt powerful. I really did. And this was where all my friends were like, wow, we can see a change in you.
Yeah.
Because I'd done the work.
Yeah.
So I then met a guy who then ticked all of those boxes, became my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like I really manifested this.
Yeah.
And everything, the only thing you've got to be careful with manifesting is I realised I manifested what I wanted, which was I really want to, like a farmer, like live on a farm, country boyfriend, all that kind of stuff. Because the thing that my life was missing was like love and a relationship.
That was a big thing for you, wasn't it?
That was a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
But then that relationship failed for many, many reasons. But what I realised after that is I manifested that, but I didn't give clear detail.
The specifics.
For what I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be really clear. I didn't note down the qualities. Like it could have just been anyone off the street, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like that. Just a farmer,
Some
country boy with a dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But to me, that worked. I was writing down every day, and trust me, I'd been on my own for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't find love. I couldn't find a relationship. I couldn't make it work, any relationship work.
Yeah.
But then I did, and I was like, oh my God, like law of attraction is in full force right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think after that relationship did fail, I just kind of sat there and was like, what the hell went wrong here? Like this aesthetically and materialistic wise, yeah, that was everything. That relationship was everything I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, what I wanted, like I said, you know, live on a farm and have a beautiful country house, meet a man that's still got their parents, all these little things that, you know, many people could have. But the qualities in someone, or what I actually wanted in a relationship, that was a total mess.
Yeah.
That was a total mess. So this time around, I went deep into the book Manifest by Roxy Nafousi, who, by the way, I saw
Did you go
on
see her,
Saturday.
by the way?
Yeah, phenomenal.
Was it amazing?
So good.
Yeah.
And I got to a point in my life last year where I was like, right, these men are coming my way.
Yeah.
You know, no problem.
Yeah.
But what is wrong? Like something is wrong because nothing is working out here. Nothing is working out. So I sat with myself again and I thought, right, I keep failing the test. The universe keeps sending me the same bloke back and forth, doesn't work. Another one comes out the woodwork, back and forth, doesn't work. And it's all a test. And I'm realizing, so I literally applied what these 7 steps were in that book. And it was so hard because there's feelings involved. You know, I had feelings for these people, or personal, whatever. But I said to myself, no, like you're going to get tested, cut it off.
Yeah.
Write down exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Put down the age, put down the job, put down the figure, put down the qualities of that person, put down the location, like be so specific, you know, their accent, do you know what I mean? Like get really real with it.
Yeah.
And do not fail the test from the universe in the process.
Yeah.
It took 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just 2 weeks.
Wow.
Of really, and it was hard. Oh
Yeah.
my God, my friends in that 2 weeks, literally, I was driving them insane. 'Cause I was
Really?
like, just I have to vent and chat
Yeah.
anywhere out to anyone else,
Yeah.
but not reply to these
Because the
guys.
test gets harder and harder the
It
closer
really
you are
did.
to getting through the other side.
It really did, and
Yeah.
I just thought, no, I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't do it. Know your worth and
Yeah.
really do this. And yeah, 2 weeks later, I found myself in a place where I didn't even be bothered, couldn't even bother to go to that day.
Yeah.
Was tired and knackered for work, and then I've met my
Here we
partner who
are.
I am now with,
Yeah.
and they just tick every
Oh,
box. Like,
I love it
it's
so much.
bizarre.
Yeah. But that's
So
what happens, right? It
yeah.
happens every time. It is textbook when you know what you're doing
Mm.
and you don't fail the tests.
Yeah.
That is like the biggest thing. Having,
Yeah.
like you said, having that clarity, having that specifics.
Yeah.
It's like with a goal,
Yeah.
whatever goal you want in life, unless you have the
Mm.
specifics, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And the test will keep coming and coming and coming. I've had it in the past with
Yeah.
past relationships,
Yeah.
past job experiences. And the more you accept those things to come back in, the more you're showing the universe that you are, you're happy to be of that level
Yeah.
of acceptance.
Exactly that.
That level of self-respect is
Yeah.
matching that. And if
Until
you're,
you show the
yeah,
universe, I'm ready.
yeah,
I'm ready. I'm listening.
yeah,
I'm passing this test. It then will align you
yeah,
with, whether it be the universe or God, whoever, people believe
yeah,
in. I truly believe there is a force and an energy that as long as you show up
yeah,
as that version of yourself
yeah,
that you are setting out to be and what you want to manifest or
yeah,
attract,
yeah,
it will be delivered to you.
yeah, 100%. And I think so much of it, actually, I will go as far as say as all of it,
Mm.
comes down to your self-worth.
Yeah.
Because every time you let that other relationship come back that treated you like shit, every time you let that other person from work talk to you like shit,
Yeah.
when you're worth more than that,
Yeah.
you're just going, yeah, cool, I'm worthy of that. That's what I'm worthy of.
And then people complain that nothing's changing. And
Yeah.
I say to friends, I'm like, nothing changes if nothing
My
changes.
favorite quote.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's so, but at the same time, I've been that person where my friends are probably thinking, oh my God, I'll just
Come on.
like, come on. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I will do it.
You'll
I
get to
will
the
do
point.
it. There is always a point. Like, we
Yeah.
will fail and fail and fail,
Yeah.
but like,
But that's life.
it is life. And you have to fail
Yeah.
to succeed eventually.
100%. So, okay. Oh my God, there's so many things I want to say. So back to lockdown. You started all these new routines, created lots of new habits. Have you continued with those things? Obviously, like you said, since you've been in your show, things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But what does life look like generally now, post lockdown, in comparison to what it looked like before on a daily basis, in terms of how you feel, in terms of your self worth, in terms of all those things? Where are we at now in comparison to before?
When I'll always look back at lockdown as like that was my best version of myself.
Yeah.
Physically, not a chance. I didn't feel it, even though I was running constantly. I was
Yeah.
exercising a lot. I think we all can say like in lockdown we all just sat there eating and delivering
Takeaways.
like
Yeah.
constantly. But mentally, I got myself in such a good place.
Yeah.
And then I guess when the world opened back up to being alive again.
Mhm.
I definitely lost myself and dipped a bit in that because I realized, oh God, if I missed a day of doing a routine in lockdown, I would absolutely beat myself up about
Yeah.
it, but I would get back straight on track the next day.
Yeah.
Whereas now, because my routine and like daily life just changed drastically with, coming out the day job and going into tour life, there's been many days where I haven't been able to do any morning routine,
Mhm.
and it's been an up and down pattern, but I
Yeah.
can now reflect on and go, right, I know where I'm at my best when I am doing these things for myself in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
Whether I actually have a habit tracker at
Yeah.
home, like this book, and I've wrote down about 15 different morning, like I like a variety. It
Yeah.
hasn't got to be the same every day,
Yeah.
but as long as I do 5, then that's good for me.
I love that.
Like that's good for me. Because
Yeah.
before I would have like stickers all over my fridge, like I must do this, I must do that, like you must run 5 miles today, like you must do your smoothie or your juice, or you must do 3 minutes or 8 minutes in an ice bath or something.
Yeah.
Like
8 minutes?
Yeah, that's what I used to get up to. But you know, the
Yeah.
maximum I really do now is 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I
Yeah.
just I'm a lot more flexible with it.
That's so important.
A lot more flexible.
Yeah.
I do need to be challenged sometimes because you do get a bit complacent, you get a bit bored with it. That's why I have a bit of a variety.
Yeah. But you know within yourself, don't you, when you're reaching that point of feeling complacent and a bit comfortable, okay, it's time to switch it up and do something else. Yeah.
Definitely.
So you're doing 5 things every morning.
5 things.
Tell me some examples of what you're doing at the moment then. Ice bath still.
Ice bath.
Yeah.
Or cold shower if I haven't cleaned the ice bath.
Yeah.
Cold showers are way harder, by the way.
Yeah, I can
just
imagine.
so much worse.
Actually, really?
Yeah.
They both sound quite awful for me.
It's just, a ice tub, ice bath, so much easier.
Is it?
Yeah, because you think you've got cold water trickling on you.
Yeah.
Whereas you can just be still and focus on your breath.
Yeah.
In like stillness.
Okay, yeah.
So
makes sense.
I do think a cold shower is a lot harder.
Yeah.
I've got a portable sauna. So I get in the sauna, and whilst I'm in the sauna, I read.
Love that.
So I get a cheeky to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
How long are you in the sauna for?
15 minutes. So I get 15 minutes of reading, and I would read like a personal development or self-help book even.
Yeah.
In the mornings, because that just helps set my brain up. Then I'll go upstairs and I will write out a gratitude list still.
Yeah.
Just 10 things. Some days a lot of it's the same.
Yeah.
A lot of it can be the same. I will juice my celery juice or cucumber.
Yeah.
And I'm really into puzzles at the moment.
Love a puzzle.
So I challenge that I have to do 10 pieces of my puzzle before I can continue my day.
I love that.
So that's one example of like 5 different things that I'll do to set myself up for the day.
Sorry, there's a very
there's a dog coming in.
There. Oh goodness. I do love a puzzle. Do you know what else I love, which I haven't done in ages, which I did during lockdown? Colouring.
Oh my God. Yes. Everyone got into colouring books.
Yeah. That is so therapeutic. And that is something which I want to actually start doing again.
Yeah.
Because that's something which takes you away from the screen.
Yeah.
Takes you away from your phone. I think we all find ourselves, don't we, in the habit of when we're watching
That's why
TV
I do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm so, like everyone else, glued to my phone.
Glued to it.
But again, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
And I catch myself and I'm like, just stop doom scrolling. Like, just get off your phone.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, if my phone hasn't been in my hand for like half an hour, I just pick it up. I'm just going through my apps.
Yeah.
For what reason?
Yeah, for what reason?
Like,
Isn't it weird how we do that though? I catch myself doing that. Like I'll get into bed.
I check my bank account 25 times a day for no reason. It's just because I'm opening an app.
It's just habit, isn't it?
Like, why?
And then you're like, why am I picking that up again? I've just put it down. It's really bizarre.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but I have been reading a lot more like fiction books, which I wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And I've got, again, because I got myself in such, when I was doing all my like self-help and personal development, I was very drawn to like drawing anything out negative. So like I wouldn't watch crime programs. I wouldn't watch scary films. I wouldn't read a horror book or anything like that. But I'm really enjoying like a murder investigation book at the moment.
Yeah.
Like I'm absolutely loving it. But part of my brain's going, Holly, this isn't positive. Like, hello, remember?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Do you know what I mean? I know, but I'm trying to. It when you do go through such like a transformational period, like or stage, you do find yourself at battle sometimes.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And that's I've gone
over
through
silly
that.
Things.
Yeah, really silly things. And I think when we were in lockdown and we were going through all of that, we were still part of the whole, which I've spoken about on this podcast before, hustle culture. Because only recently has that come away a little bit. I think more and more people are talking about how bad that actually is now.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were in lockdown, that was still a thing.
Yeah.
So even though what we were doing was self-development and helping ourselves, how many days did you beat yourself up because you didn't do what you said you were going to do?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of comes under hustle culture to a certain degree. Not allowed to watch TV. You shouldn't watch TV. It's bad for you. And whilst 100% I do agree that watching horror things and, you know, I would never watch a horror before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Something I battle with Greg with on a regular basis. I'm like, I'm not watching that because I will literally have nightmares and so will you. So just stop it. I won't do that before bed. But things like, you know, if you want to watch a bit of reality TV, why are you punishing yourself for that?
I know.
If you want to read a fiction book, why are you punishing yourself for that?
I'm finding pleasure in doing these things, but I would normally like say to myself, like, you can't do that because that's not going to feed your brain anything good. But then you also get stuck in this place of like, because I feel like I'm in a point in my life where I want to elevate again.
Yeah.
You know, everything's great, but I've realized it's like what they say, don't they? Oh, you know, people will say like, what will make you happy? And then like, oh, when I'm a millionaire. And it's like, but then people get there and they move the goalposts. It's always something else. So I've always been very good in actually trying to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
But I've hit a point where I'm like, I don't know what's next. I'm also like, everything's good in my life, but I need a challenge.
Yeah.
Like I thrive off some sort of challenge.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah. So what are your thoughts on all of that? Have you got anything in mind that you want to challenge yourself with?
I think, like most people, probably, I've got, you know, a monetary target that I want to, you know, hit this year.
Yeah.
I want to get back in the studio and do more of my singing. Like these things make me feel good.
Yeah.
I am in such a bad relationship with food, I would say at the moment.
Really?
Like it's the biggest thing for me.
Okay.
Like I have a sugar addiction.
Do you?
I put my hands up. I have a sugar addiction, but it is, do you know what? It's so bad that I listen to so much around sugar or cutting out sugar, you know, and I know it's doing me no good, but I'm still doing it. To the point though, what I actually say to myself, Holly, you're giving yourself cancer. Like
Fucking
if you do,
hell.
but that still doesn't stop me. That's why I'm like, shit, I have an addiction. Like
Where's that come from? Is that a recent thing?
I think I've got such I do obsess over things when, you know, like I have, I guess an addictive personality, maybe they call it. I don't know. But, you know, I used to drink a lot when I was younger. So, you know, that was one thing, but obviously that was filling a void.
Yeah.
And then I sort of got over that. I don't drink so much anymore. So if it's not drinking, you know, I'm always trying to find some sort of like pleasure in something.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of like got everything and everything's good. It's like my brain's saying, all right, well, we still need to give you something just to like, you know, feel shit about. Or like, do you know what I mean?
I actually know what you're saying.
I just go through packets and packets and packets of sweets constantly. But it makes me feel so shit.
Do you
And I
enjoy
know
it whilst
does.
you're eating it?
I love sweets.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I love sweets.
Yeah.
I've got a sweet tooth. Like I love anything sugar.
Yeah.
But I know it's so bad for me because it's excessive. And I think if I quit that, something I might start drinking heavily again.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
So it's almost it's replacing.
It's and I'm still trying to figure out this. I've got to get to the core here. Of something. Because there's obviously something. There's a reason why I get all these obsessions over things.
So, kind of on topic, but going off topic. If it's related to food, you could. This is like going down a different route, but you might genuinely have something in your gut going on, which is really making you crave the sugar. So if you could get that checked out and get that potentially sorted out, that could be the answer to that.
It's got to be something.
Yeah. Obviously that doesn't relate to an addictive personality in other areas, but for the sugar, there's usually something related to, if you've got sugar cravings,
really interesting.
it's usually a gut health thing.
I could live off sugar.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah. But also there's, please don't do that. Don't live off sugar. But there's loads of things which you can make. This could be quite fun for you, which will give you those sugar hits, but not actually sugar, like healthy food, which is going to give you those like chocolate fixes and stuff like that, which you can make yourself from home. Like there's so much stuff online which you can do.
Yeah, that's
might be worth doing that. I'll put you in touch with my friend who's a gut health specialist. She'll sort you out.
On the way here, I literally said to myself, one of the things I need to walk away with at some point, like not just from today, but I said I need some sort of like health specialist / nutritionist.
Manifesting
like,
some shit again,
manifesting.
Like literally.
You know,
what the hell?
I know. Because just driving here, you know, just thinking about like, what do I like? Because I'm going on holiday next week. And I thought when I come back, I want to start fresh on all of this. And I literally said to myself, I need some sort of like health specialist.
I'm going to put you in touch with her. She's amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah. She'll sort you out.
Amazing.
She's quite brutal though. She won't put up with any
That's
shit.
what I need. That's what I need.
She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Tough. I need that. I need the toughness.
Love that. Who doesn't like a bit of sugar though? Do you know what I mean? She always tells me off. She comes in my stories, and yesterday I posted something of like, I think it was a matcha and one of those Trek bars.
Yeah.
In my head, that's quite healthy. I'm like, yeah, that's quite a healthy thing. And then she messaged me, that's not good energy for you. And I was like, oh, for God's sake.
What can I have?
I voiced it to her. I was like, please don't become that person who messages me. Otherwise, I'm just going to block you from my stories.
I want someone, I want that.
Yeah.
Because it will get in my head and I can obsess over it. And I kind of like that because to me, it's like a healthy, unhealthy sort of obsession, but like it works for me, those kind of things.
I'll put you in touch with her. She'll sort you out.
Thanks.
I want to go back to the whole self-worth topic because I know that's a big one for you. And when we've spoken previously, I know that there's been some things that you've had in your life where you've not necessarily felt worthy of certain things or situations. Do you want to delve into that a little bit of what that kind of used to look like and what it's like now?
Yeah, I had no self-worth or self-esteem for many years. Like, I think a lot of it goes back to just, masking a lot of pain that I was going through in my life. And I think, I was just living for the weekend all the time and, again, just going out drinking, all these kind of things. Like, how can you have self-worth when you just sort of like treating your body like that, you know?
Yeah.
I would give myself almost like away to the wrong people as well, and that was a huge factor into me having no self-worth. I would always fall for the wrong people, but yeah, there was definitely a time in my life where I just felt completely not good enough and completely worthless. I knew I had all this talent. I used to get a lot of attention when I was younger, and then social media came about, and I feel like there's always someone better than whoever you're looking at with social media. So I suppose this is something I've never really spoken about before. I think when I was younger, I did used to get a lot of attention and I did play on it, I suppose. Or, if a guy was interested in me, like, yeah, I'd probably just go with them, whether it be, I don't know, back in those days, like a little walk around the park or like a little kiss date or something. Do you know what I mean? But I would get attention. But there was no social media. And then social media come along and obviously like people edit stuff as well. And, there was so much out there, so many options. And I just started to feel quite invalid. I kind of felt like, oh, wow, maybe I'm not like as pretty and as, amazing as like I've been made to feel for, a lot of the time. But I didn't work on any self-worth or anything like that because I was just getting attention. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was just getting all the attention.
Yeah.
So when that all kind of stopped, it did kind of, maybe looking back now, I think that may be something that I wasn't dealing with as well. And as to, I'd have a drink and I'd feel confident again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a horrible toxic cycle.
Yeah. Not actually dealing with anything, just covering it.
Yeah, massively. And I think my confidence, throughout a lot of my life did come through just drinking, which is awful really, because when reality does hit and I did grow out of that stage, it was a case of being faced with, like, for my transformational period, like throughout lockdown, I quit drinking for 9 months as well throughout lockdown. Like I really, really turned my whole mindset around. But I had to learn about self-worth. And it took somebody that was in my life at the time to kind of teach me that a little bit.
Yeah.
And
as it does. It always takes someone
it does.
to
It kind of took somebody, and I thought, no one's actually really presented to me the fact that I do have self-worth, and self-love is important as well, big part of that.
Yeah.
And I could practice that then because I knew about it. I didn't know about it, but I really let myself go for many years by having the lowest self-esteem, never feeling good enough, going for all the wrong people, getting all the rejection and no's in the singing industry and everything. Like I felt depleted completely.
And you know what's so interesting as well? I think people would look at you and look at when they meet you and, in person. I know it's different now, but even back then, because I know that you were still going through that when I first met you, I never would have thought that when I first met you, which is so probably a very common thing.
Yeah.
You know, and with social media, you'd look at your Instagram, for example, back then, and you wouldn't think that, because you only show people what you want them to see, as we
Instagram's a
all
funny
do.
thing. Like
Yeah.
even now, I sort of battle with it in my head, because I just think we do just show our highlights
Yeah.
100%. But there's times where I'm not even feeling good when I'm posting this picture, which looks like I'm having the time of my
Yeah.
life. Do you know what I mean?
Even at that point, you're
At
not
that
feeling good.
point,
Yeah.
and it's to be honest, like this is something I probably am still at battle with a little bit in terms of like validation. Like, am I seeking validation? Because when I first used to post on Instagram, I was so aware that other people were posting stuff, and I would know them and think, well, hang on a minute, like I know that's not real, or
Yeah.
I know that's not true, or
Yeah.
I just knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
I was so real with my Instagram, like
Yeah.
generally, and I've always been a very open and honest
Yeah.
person.
You have.
It was only when I think quotes come about, everyone started posting quotes,
Yeah.
everyone could relate to a quote,
Yeah.
and then you just feel like you become that person that is no longer relatable, because it's just like, as personally, because there was just so much out there, like just social media just completely flipped a lot in my head for me, I
Yeah.
think.
But it did become something
It
different.
really did,
Yeah.
yeah. And I just thought, oh, like, yeah, I just stopped. I used to talk all the time on Instagram, like I don't do
Yeah.
it so much anymore.
Yeah.
But I do. It's a funny world, because like I always take my social media detox every January. I come off it for the whole month,
Yeah.
sometimes 5-6 weeks. And obviously in the job that I'm in now, I do get new followers all the time, and these new followers don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
So, and I love to share. And I think it's so true. Like when good things happen, if you share them, they grow.
Yeah.
And there's a feeling that you get from sharing that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
It's like going back to what I was saying earlier. Some people think, oh, when I'm a millionaire, I'll be happy, sort of thing.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Sit around the table like for a day or 5 minutes and just feel happy, and then what?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
The whole journey and the process is where the happiness should really be.
Uh-huh.
And I think when I do disappear from Instagram, or like come back on, people will message and literally just be like, oh, like, are you okay? Like, where have you been, sort of thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel a bit bad, because I'm like, people actually get so invested,
Yeah.
don't
They
they,
do.
in people's
Yeah.
lives. And I love to be that person, but then I do battle with the fear, which is the one thing I'm really trying to work on at the moment.
Yeah.
Is what I guess what other people think,
Yeah.
because it's like, I have such an alter ego. I'm aware of that. I have different versions of myself. Who I am sat here talking to you, I'm in front of a camera.
Yeah.
It's not Holly on the sofa sat watching
Yeah.
Netflix, but that's normal. That's fine. Do you know
100%.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's also a Holly that steps on stage, but as Tina or as
Yeah.
Whitney.
Yeah.
Then there's Holly that's stressed, and there's Holly that's with her partner. Then there's Holly with different groups of friends, because my different friends
Yeah.
all have different characters and
Yeah.
personalities, you know? So it's like sometimes who I am is I like to express.
Yeah.
I love to express myself. And I just feel like sometimes, as soon as I do go up onto a camera, am I being authentic? Because I'm in front of a camera, am I being a different version of myself? Or am I truly giving people who I am? And it can get in your head. That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, I just need to come away from this, stay true to myself, to be
Yeah.
authentic. And, because
Yeah.
my profession is like, it's a professional life as well as my personal life with Instagram.
100%. I can relate to that, but in a different way. So I think it's great that you have a social media detox.
Yeah.
That's something which I've never really wanted to do, not for any reason, but I've never felt, sometimes you just feel
Yeah.
the need to do
Yeah.
it. I've never got to that point, but I think to do that would
Yeah.
be an amazing thing. So I'm
Yeah.
not ever ruling it out. But I find with myself, like getting on my stories and speaking, I can't bring myself to do that unless I'm in a good space
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
feeling great.
Yeah.
And we all have days or weeks where maybe we're a bit more stressed than usual, or no
Yeah.
matter how great life is or may seem,
Yeah.
there's always some shit that might go down at some
Yeah.
point. And I that's one of my rules, is that I will never get on that screen
Yeah.
and even post anything that's, making out like I'm
Yeah.
great and happy, if that's not how I'm feeling at that
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And usually that feeling passes by the next day anyway.
Yeah.
But not always. Sometimes that feeling might last a week, or if there's something going on with family, or, there's always stuff that goes on in life. And I think as long as you're open with the people that are following you about that, then they'll always trust you. And I think that's the most important thing, because doing what I do specifically, coaching people in whatever sense, they have to trust me.
100%. Yeah.
So if
I trust you, I have to trust you.
Yeah. But you trust me because I am honest and open.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people in the coaching space who are just living a lie on their social media. And I find that so frustrating.
Yeah.
And, your career, yes, is very different, but you do have your followers who look up to you and who admire you. And,
But I love that. That's I guess it's a sense of acceptance as well, because like we do all want to be accepted somewhere, wherever area in our life that we're working, whether it is our profession or a friendship group or our home life, like everyone wants to feel a sense of acceptance and
love.
That world means a lot to me in that sense, because when I'm at home, I'm just on my own. I've only recently got into a relationship, so like I just find like with social media, it can be a really up and down world, and it can play a big part into like for transformation and growth for me. It did, because I did use it as accountability. I love putting, even now I'll post like, right, done my sauna today, done my ice bath today. Like I just need to put it out there somewhere. Whereas some people just wake up and do these things for them, which is fine. But I'm a performer in every area of my life. That's what people need to realize. It's what anybody that comes into my life needs to understand. I will have a camera on the go. I don't mind that. I love that. I love capturing everything and talking about it. It's how I express myself.
Yeah. I definitely have elements of me in that as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
You do. Yeah.
And I think that's the Leo in me.
Yeah.
And it is the ex-performer in me. Yes, I've never been a performer like you, but I used to dance, be on stage.
Exactly, but you will
definitely
always
got
take
it.
that with you, like 100%.
But I think that's great if you use social media to capture those moments and that's helping you reach your goals. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
What I really don't like is when people judge for that.
No.
Why are they posting
just
so
let
much?
people do what they want to do.
If you don't want to post, that's cool.
Don't
babes.
look at it if it's not your thing, or unfollow them.
Yeah. You got to do what's right for you.
100%.
So where are you at now then in terms of those feelings of self-worth?
I'm in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
I'd say. I just think I'm in if there's anywhere in an area in my life that needs working on specifically, it's food, like I've said about, and the discipline. I think it's my discipline.
Yeah.
Because once I get in a good place with discipline, I always say I'm not disciplined. I'm not disciplined. But when I think about it, I am. Like there is a lot that I am actually disciplined
You definitely
in.
are.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
when it comes to food, I just struggle, and food affects my mood.
Yeah.
Like more than I ever realized. So I think I can have, I'll have a real big sugar binge and then a big sugar crash.
Yeah.
And it's only in that moment where everything spirals and I'm like, oh, I don't feel, maybe I'm not good enough at doing this, or maybe I'm not in the right place at the right time doing what I should be doing, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
Everything goes downhill.
And it sounds bizarre, but realistically, on the grand scheme of things, that's not that bad, considering, I've been through a lot in life. A lot of people have, and I've worked hard in my life.
Yeah.
But, if the only unhealthy thing really I've got with myself is food, I'm not doing that bad.
Exactly. It's true. It's so true. And that, we've all got things, like you said, that we struggle with, and we've all got certain things that we want to improve on, and we always will keep having those things.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever 100% perfect all of the time.
Personal image has always been a big thing for me. And as bizarre as this is going to sound, like this is the first time I've really gone on camera properly, something like this, like with my hair short, my natural hair.
I love it.
Barring a little clip-on fringe.
Is it? Is it?
It is indeed.
I would never have known.
Yeah, little clip-on fringe.
I love that.
But it's my natural hair. And honest to God, in the days leading up to this, I was like, oh God, what am I going to do about my hair? What am I going to go on this podcast? What am I going to do about my hair? I
really?
thought, Holly, just embrace it. Like, it is you. Like.
But like, we're sitting here going,
I know.
Sorry? Your hair looks insane.
Oh, thanks.
Honestly, I love that. But
normally, see, even just then, I would be like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks awful. Oh, no. Honestly, like, everyone compliments my hair like this, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
But I'm just really trying to embrace, get a good skincare regime. Well, because all those things like self-love.
Yeah.
The other night, you know, I had a free evening and I thought, I just need some self-love.
Yeah.
I simply had a bath, got my body scrubs, a
Yeah.
face mask, and just read my book in the bath. I had half an hour just
Yeah.
to myself, and I thought, I'm I'm so glad I done that.
You
And it was
felt
so
great.
simple.
Yeah.
It was so simple. I didn't have to go shopping. I didn't have to go
Yeah.
and do anything extravagant.
Yeah.
Like, it was just that simple moment. And I just thought, because I am really trying to hone in a lot more on my self-worth and
Yeah.
like self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
because that then will affect how I am as a person, how I portray myself, and
Yeah.
how I even perform.
100%. And your relationships and
Yeah,
everything comes off the
it
back of
does.
that. And it is finding those little moments,
Mm.
like having a bath. You know me and my baths.
You love a bath,
Any
candles,
opportunity.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that is my time where I literally just lie there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it just
Just
feels so
peace.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
pure peace.
Mm.
And there is going down the spiritual route,
Yeah.
being in water,
Mm.
that is healing.
It is. Water is literally my
Yeah.
thing. Like, I live by a river
Yeah.
and I love, like, I've just always loved water. Like, I've
Yeah.
always said, wherever I live, I've got to be near water because I
Yeah.
do find it so healing.
Yeah. I that's actually one thing I noticed from moving from where I was in Putney
Yeah.
to where I am now, being from near the river
Yeah.
and not being near water now. Like I definitely think that is affecting me
Mm.
slightly.
Mm.
So I make the conscious effort now to go for walks where there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
water. I was watching the Kardashians. Have you watched the new episode of the
I've
Kardashians?
never watched an episode of the
Okay.
Kardashians.
I feel like you might
I don't
like it.
judge, but I just never have.
Okay.
I probably would. I
I
love
feel
Kim
like you
Kardashian
would.
and like I love seeing what they're about, but I've
Yeah.
never watched it.
Kendall Jenner,
Okay,
Kendall Jenner,
yeah.
she was talking about baths
Mm.
and she was talking about the power of water and healing and everything. And she made a point of saying, yeah, when I get in the bath, I make sure that I really let the water come all the way up over my heart to really heal the heart.
Oh, I love that.
And that was something I'd never been
Yeah.
aware of. Like I'm aware of when I have a bath, it's obviously
Yeah,
nice that I'm
yeah.
healing, but I'd never made that effort with my
Yeah.
heart. And then I got into the bath the other day after I watched that, and I got in the bath and I was like, oh my God, the water's not even covering my heart. So I like made myself
Yeah,
get
so now
under
you
even
make a
more.
conscious effort
Yeah. And
and
just having that intention of this is what this is doing and that
yeah.
belief that this is what that is doing, that in itself is so powerful.
It's all those little things that
Yeah.
you come across in life,
Yeah.
like just as simple as that.
Yeah.
That helps with your growth and your
Yeah.
transformation.
Totally.
100%.
Where are you at on your spiritual journey now?
Mm, I'm definitely still in the whole manifestation
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
for sure. Um,
Are you consciously manifesting things at the moment? Or are you
I'm in
kind
a
of
place
just,
where, you know, when you think about something and then it happens or you find yourself aligned to it. You know, like every time I text you
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing
Every
because
time.
every time we communicate,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God, I was just thinking
Yeah.
about you or I was wondering about you.
Yeah.
Like these, and I love that because I
Yeah.
really take them as like, that's a sign. And
Yeah.
like numbers at the moment are my thing. Do you remember we used to have this conversation about
Yeah.
number plates?
Yes.
Like that used to be a big thing for me, but now I think I've even got a necklace on just with like 444 on
444.
because I'm so
Love
in
it.
alignment with numbers at the
Yeah.
moment. Like, you know, you check the time and it's a certain time, or I will even just be on Instagram and see a amount of
Mhm.
likes and it'll be like 222 or
Yeah.
444 or something. Like
Yeah.
I'm just seeing a lot of numbers. I don't know what that sign is as
Yeah.
such, but I take so much like
Mhm.
comfort in it as if to say like I'm being guided.
Yeah. That is what that is. And all
Yeah.
those numbers have different meanings to
Yeah.
them. So look into that. Like and what's really important is to notice what you're thinking when you see the number.
Right.
So if you're thinking about something specific,
And then you see that.
yeah, I see you
Yeah.
smiling. So I feel like
Yeah.
there's some stuff that you're
Yeah, I
aware
feel
that you've been
like
thinking.
maybe, yeah, I do. But I think, yeah, I'm quite consciously aware of that. But like I said, I feel like everything is just like good at the
Yeah.
moment. But I definitely need a new challenge. But it's funny because I don't need anything to go wrong in
Mhm.
my life. You know, like before something would have to go wrong. And I almost thrived off of that because
Really?
because then I was set a task to like,
Right.
you know, make it better.
So you were actually attracting the things that were going
100%.
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But it's like I needed something to go wrong, so I had something to work on
Mhm.
to get better.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm okay, but I want to be better.
Yeah.
So I'm just okay at the moment.
Yeah.
But I want to be great.
Yeah. You're good, but you want to be great.
Yeah, I want to be great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's nothing wrong though.
Yeah.
Like my drive, it's bizarre. It's like I'm backwards. My drive is almost like everything's got to go to shit. It's like they say you hit rock bottom, you know, but actually, like that's the best thing that could probably happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, same for me, you know, like one of the biggest lessons or like quotes or whatever it is that I've heard in life and resonated to, which I found quite difficult to accept, but it was, of course, Tony Robbins.
You just love
I
him.
just do. I love the big guy. He said a quote which is problems are gifts. And at the time I was struggling with the death of my mum, and I actually took that as, you're right, he's right. Problems are gifts. Okay, it's not a gift to me in life that my mum died, but my God, has my life changed and become amazing from that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it always sounds and feels really twisted to say that, because people might think, you know, oh God, how could you say that? You know, I would give anything to have my mum back.
Of course.
Oh my God,
That
if
goes
my
without
mum
saying.
could see me now.
Yeah.
But it also, if my mum was here still, I honestly don't think I'd be doing what I am doing now.
Do you know what I think is so amazing is having someone like yourself who has been through that, saying that. Because for me to say that to somebody like yourself who has gone through that, there's always that fear of, I don't really want to say that because that's the most horrific thing that has happened to you. But I know in the back of my head that all this stuff has come from that experience.
Yeah.
So to hear you say that when you've been through that is like a really beautiful thing, because it's true. And it's true. You wouldn't, your journey would be different.
It would be so different. Yeah. And honestly, I think my life, I would probably still be just stuck in a toxic cycle of, you know, I just don't think I would have chased my dreams. I think everybody has their like moment in their life where they had their like wake up call.
Yeah.
And you know, I wish mine could have been different. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't. I can't think like that.
Yeah.
This is my life and this is what's happened.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm making out of my life.
Yeah.
There was a really powerful video that I used to watch daily. I'm sure it was a boxer. I think he was called Michael Douglas. He knocked out Muhammad Ali. And in that video, he'd lost his mum the day before the fight. And like no one had ever knocked out Muhammad Ali by this point or something like that.
Yeah.
And what got him through is he basically said, you know, I can die for my mother, or I can live for my mother. And I really took that because I thought, you know, when your mum dies, a part of you, of course, does die.
Yeah.
And some people, you know, do go off and do tragic things, or, you know, some people can't live anymore because of the pain. And I thought, well, I can even go and die with my mum or go and live for my mum. And that was my why. That was where my why was built and created, you know?
Yeah. And that will be why you're so consistent and so resilient, because you've got that guiding you. Wow, that's amazing. One more question that I want to speak about, which is something which we spoke about previously. When I asked you to describe your life in 3 words, one of your answers, which just blew my mind in a really great way because I really wanted to get into it. You answered a pendulum swing. Please talk to me about that, because I just want to hear what's behind this. I think that's going to be a powerful answer.
Okay, so I'll give my other answers as well. Growth was one of them, because I just do think I have grown a hell of a lot, you know, over the years, and I am really proud of that.
Yeah.
The pendulum swing. So how can I explain it? I think your life is, let's just say there's a straight line down the middle and that is your life, okay?
Yeah.
And then you've got these 2 boulders either side, or however you want to visualize a pendulum swing.
Yeah.
You know, it is full of ups and downs. You are going to swing one way and you're going to sit in that position and you're going to feel amazing on top of the world, and then something's going to happen. It's going to bring you down a peg or knock you down a peg.
Yeah.
You know, and then I live my life genuinely going from one extreme to the next. So when I talk about a pendulum swing, I think, you can be up here and at the highest, but then you're going to get whacked down to your lowest again. Then you're going to swing back up to the other side,
Yeah.
take whatever you can from that side, and you're going to come back down and everything's going to be okay and mellow. Then you're going to swing back up. It's just like constant highs and lows,
I
or one
love
extreme
that.
to the other. Does that make sense?
100%. 100%.
I know a pendulum swing was 3 words and it should have just been 3
pendulum
things.
swing.
But
that's a really great visual explanation of that, because life is, people might say life's a roller coaster, right?
no,
But
it's a
it's
pendulum
a pendulum swing. I'm going to use that.
100%.
It's so
Great.
true. And I love the extremes, because
It is. It
you
is
can
one
be so
extreme.
high and then it can come down so low, but then you're going to come high again.
Yeah.
Bouncing back.
But you got to take a bit each time you bounce from each side
Yeah.
to keep the movement,
Yeah.
And I think you do. Every time you go up to a high, you learn or take something away new that time, and then when you do go to the low, you get something else that side on the low that's going to bring you back to the high. So you are literally swinging between like 2 just life extremes, and I feel like that's forever.
Yeah.
Because no one just stays on a high or just a
No.
low their whole life,
Yeah, and you don't know what the other one feels like unless
No.
you're experiencing the opposite, and you have to.
Yeah.
Oh my God, love that. Wow, insightful. So, what was it? Growth, a pendulum swing. What was the other one?
Liberating.
Liberating.
I think it is. Life is liberating,
Yeah.
And going back to where I said about learning about gratitude, the fact that we're sat here today, even just doing this, is liberating, because we're breathing and we are still living. And I always think that every morning. The last thing I always write down, what I'm grateful for, is that I woke up today and, and I'm breathing, and it's another chance of life.
Yeah.
Because every single day is. Like, doesn't matter how hard it is. Doesn't mean that I skip through the day all the time.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. But as long as I can just have that little bit of gratitude every day, and I think by the end of the day, you might settle down and think about your wins, or like wind down for bed, or just have a cup of tea and go to bed, whatever it is, your evening routine. I don't really have an evening routine.
Yeah.
I have more of a morning routine.
You got your morning routine nails.
I do want to get an evening routine again.
Yeah.
So I used to have one. But the fact of the matter is, by the end of the day, I do think life is liberating, because you're still here. If you're alive, like, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
And like when you first get into personal development, and I remember when I first got into it, and people say, write your gratitude list.
Yeah.
And like when you're first starting out, so for any viewers or listeners who are just starting out or haven't even gone down this route yet, and they're like, but what do I have to be grateful for? And then like we would be told, the pen that you're writing with, be grateful for it. Look outside the window. Is the sun shining? Is it raining? Be grateful for it. Are you in a warm house? Be grateful for it. You're breathing. Be grateful for it. And so many people can sit there and go, but what do I have to be grateful for? And especially if you're in a dark place, that can feel really challenging.
It really can. And it did when I first started out. It really did.
Yeah. But there is always something.
There is. And I think you can twist it from being grateful to like being thankful for that as well. Like, just think about something that's really happened. I like to do it within the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, that's why a lot of the time it can be the same. But, if I have a great show the night before, there might be a really lovely comment that just, that I would normally oversee or just overlook it. But I think, no, like, I'm so grateful that person took their time out to write to me. I've made someone's evening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm lucky that I'm in a job that can do that. That's why I feel like I serve a purpose, which I love.
Yeah.
But then when I first started out, I'd literally put, I'm grateful for my cat.
Yeah.
And I am.
You still are.
I still am. I do
day.
still write Jagger down, but why I'm grateful for him. He brings me joy in the morning. He comes and sits on my head. And, it's just all them little things. Like, I'm really grateful for those moments.
No, 100%. And, like you were just saying, you're fortunate enough to be in a job where you're serving that purpose, but your everyday person who's not doing what you're doing, they can still get that from a person in the street. That whole thing of just be kind to people, something which you might say to that person, compliment compliment their jacket, compliment their
Oh God,
hair,
compliments.
compliment
Yeah,
people
yeah.
because
I
that,
don't compliment enough. I
yeah,
really wish I did. I'm one of these people that compliments in my head.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
literally, even when I got here, I thought, "Cool, your skin looks amazing," but I just didn't say it.
Thanks.
You
Thank
just
you.
think, "Why?" It just, you're just
Yeah.
glowing, but
Thank
you
you.
think, "Why don't I just say
Yeah.
it?"
Yeah.
But then someone compliments me. I'm so much
Yeah.
better now with taking compliments. Like I said earlier, with my hair, normally I'd be
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh God, no, it's disgusting. I look horrible."
Yeah.
But when
Just say
someone just
thank
say
you.
thank you,
Yeah. But
literally, that's
that
enough.
again goes down to self-worth.
Yeah,
That was a massive thing I've had to be on a journey for.
yeah,
And even like people, and I know this is a common thing, people like, when you're complimenting someone's clothes
yeah.
and like you might say, "Oh, I love your dress."
Mm.
So many people will reply and just say, "Oh, I just got it from,
Yeah.
oh, it's only a
Oh, it's only
cheapie."
cheap.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, why
oh,
are
it's
you
only from
saying that?
Primark
Like,
or
who
oh,
cares? Like, that's
it doesn't.
irrelevant.
It's so irrelevant. It
What?
doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
But it's like we feel like we have to justify that we're not worthy of
Yeah,
wearing something expensive or something.
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, I don't
yeah,
know what the real kind of gist behind that is, but
yeah.
it's something down to your self-worth and not,
Has to be.
you know,
Yeah.
like bringing yourself down a peg.
Mm,
Like, why are we
mm,
doing that? Bring
mm.
yourself up.
And we all do. We
Yeah.
all do.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better now, like I say, but if I had no makeup on, I'd literally be like, oh my God, I cannot go out the house. Or I
Yeah.
get on a Zoom call and be like, by the
Yeah.
way, the first thing I'd say is, oh, by the way, I look like a shit.
Yeah.
Like, my hair's bunged up. I've got no
Yeah.
makeup on.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like,
Here I
I'm
am.
just showing up as
Deal with
me.
it.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
just showing up as
This
me.
is who I
Like,
am. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what? When I first recorded my first podcast episode, I
Yeah.
had no makeup on
Yeah.
for a reason because I thought this podcast is called Real Talk
Real
with Nat.
talk.
I want to keep
Exactly.
this as real as possible. I edited it myself,
Yeah.
which you could probably tell. We have
You've done a good
upgraded
job.
now with Carl, thankfully. But I wanted to like prove a point of like, this is
Yeah.
me. What you're getting is
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah.
there's some episodes, where if I've been out today, I'll have some makeup on. There's some
Yeah.
episodes where I don't.
That's just how it is. That's how the
Yeah.
day is for you.
And
So you
people
just
who,
show up as
yeah,
yourself.
and people who see me on a day-to-day basis at the studio and in real life, that's what I look like anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to think, "Oh, you look so different in real life," which you do get with a lot of people who filter the hell out of their pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're going off on tangent
We
now.
digress.
Okay. I mean, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to share with our viewers or listeners that we haven't covered in terms of your story, in terms of just anything you want to say to anyone?
My mind's gone completely blank.
Shall I go
Which
on?
is a good thing because I feel like we have spoke about a lot, to be fair.
We have spoken about a lot. I'm going to end on a question.
Okay.
Going to go back to your mum,
Yeah.
the topic of your mum, because I think that's a big, important topic, which we've covered, which has been the stem and the
Yeah.
backbone through a lot of the stuff in your life up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anyone listening or watching who is maybe going through the start
Yeah.
of what you went through before your mum passed away, or has just experienced a loss of a parent,
Yeah.
what would you say to that person? What advice would you give to them?
First of all, everybody deals with things in different ways, as cliche as it sounds,
Mhm.
but everybody's journey with grief and loss is different. You've just got to do what feels right for you and do not take any judgment. Like when my mum died, I remember I think I went out to a nightclub like 2 weeks after, and I remember people thinking like, "Oh my God, like her mum's just died. Like, why is
Mhm.
she out clubbing?" Or I went to the pub and like people were like, "Oh my God, like your mum died like 2 weeks ago." And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, all right, I probably do look back and think I was actually just a mess. Like,
Yeah, but that's how you were
absolutely.
dealing with it.
But yeah, but also like what people don't realize, there's a backstory behind everything as well. And yes, it was very sad and awful what happened, but I was prepared for. I was prepared for it.
Yeah.
My mum was ill for like 10 years.
Yeah.
The cancer came in and out, so I was prepared for it. But I think just know that your biggest success does come from your like hardest challenges.
Mhm.
And just like I said earlier, like your biggest problem can be a gift. And that's not to say, you know, what anybody's going through if they're losing somebody or if they have just lost somebody, that's a good thing, because it's not.
Mhm.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. Your life is going to change. You've just got to be prepared to adjust it. But if you have got an outlet or a passion, just dive into that, whatever it is. Don't just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like, don't sit back and be afraid.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't sing, singing is my outlet.
Yeah.
If I didn't do this, I do not know where I would be. Hands down.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I went and did it when I lost my mum. So I think, you know, if there is something that's niggling at you that you're not following your dreams or your passion, like, just go and do it, because I promise the outcome is gonna like take over any feeling that you've ever experienced in your life.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being an amazing guest.
Thank you.
You have been incredible. I always love chatting to you. I knew this was going to be a nice conversation. Where can people find you if they want to find you online?
Yep. So my Instagram is just my name, at Holly Bannis. I'm mostly on Instagram, if I'm honest. I don't really do much on TikTok or anything else. A few bits on YouTube as well. So just generally my name, at Holly Bannis. My show is at What's Love Got to Do with It show on Instagram, and at Queen of the Night Tribute as well.
And if you guys haven't watched any of the shows, they are amazing.
Oh,
they really
you.
Are. They're just like a good night out, aren't
Yeah, they are.
I can't wait. I'm going to get some more booked in. Yes. I'll speak to Kelly. She'll be on it.
Absolutely.
To come with me. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Have
you.
Been amazing. And thank you guys for listening, for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, comment and share. Every single thing does not go unnoticed. And we are still a relatively new podcast, and every little thing counts. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.